till it's our turn to talk.
Perfect. So
I'll just
but you'll
Chris.
be okay.
But yeah.
Perfect.
And we are live. Going dark.
All right, all right. Why don't you guys add some handsome headshots for your whatever that's called. Are we live?
We're live on most channels, but I'm not live on Facebook yet. So
greetings all. We'll be getting started in just a moment.
do you have any
and that's going to look like
slides? Why don't you share whatever you got?
Sure enough. Okay. Here comes the magic. There we go. Hello, world.
We're live.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you everybody for showing up. We'll be getting started in just a moment. We always like to give those folks who are not here on time at least a minute or two, because we're going to be covering a bunch of great stuff. We're going to make this in and out. There's a couple of things to know about this. This is the first time we're doing this particular presentation. It's something that we plan on doing weekly, where we're going to be continuing to refine what we identify as an AI-powered productivity tool stack, I guess. There will be some behaviors, of course, that we'll be talking about, but a lot of it is going to be built around how we're using these tools. So we are still a little early. Thanks to our sponsor. No, just kidding. I am going to be drinking an Orgain protein shake while we're waiting. They're the most AI-friendly protein shake out there. Okay, looks like it's time. We're going to be doing a little warm-up here. Again, this is a weekly series. We're not going to keep you on here any longer than necessary. The idea is that each week on Thursdays, we're going to be introducing you to how we're introducing AI tools and AI processes into our day-to-day operations of a startup, and that startup is called chiefaiofficer.com. You're going to have an opportunity to meet a lot of our leadership team as they're sharing what's working for them and that sort of thing. So while we're waiting on everybody to show up, I do want to say, if you are watching this anywhere other than our Facebook channel, you're more than welcome to keep watching. However, we're only going to be answering questions and interacting with the chat within our Facebook group. It's free to join. We don't spam you or anything like that. It's just a place for us to be able to show these presentations live. So as you're joining, I would like to know where you're from. And I always like to ask this question. So if you don't mind, just put in the comments real quick where you're dialing in from. Secondly, it helps us kind of calibrate the information and the tone in which we present. If you can share with me on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with AI? 1 would be, I'm interested, but this is all new to me. 10 would be, hey, I'd like to be teaching the class next time. So somewhere in there, all of us fall somewhere on there. So if you don't mind, just in the comments, put on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with AI? And then finally, I'm going to ask you, if you're already using AI in your business, what are those areas that you're doing it? Just you can put the department or a specific task or anything like that. So while we're waiting on, okay, we got a few more people joining. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. This is, again, this is about AI-powered productivity. It's a session that we do live on Thursdays with the leadership team of chiefaiofficer.com, which is the home of really expert, non-technical AI training for business professionals on the web. So join us over there. Again, our group. And let me introduce myself. My name's Chris Daigle. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ChiefAIOfficer.com. And as I mentioned, we provide AI strategy, AI implementation. We do those services through our mid-market enablement services division. So if you're a company that needs help with AI, you can reach out to us. We're happy to have a discussion with you and see if we're a fit. And for individuals out there, Chief AI Officer also provides training and certification for primarily non-technical business people who want to be the AI-enabled leader in their team and their company, or heck, their entire industry. And surprise, surprise, this image was actually AI generated. This might be one of the tools we talk about, Secta.ai. I also want to introduce you to the rest of our team. We've actually brought on most of our leadership team for them to share some of their productivity, their AI-powered productivity angles as well. Why? Because we're all power users of generative AI in all areas of our business. So it's great for you to be able to see how different individuals in different roles are using it, so you can learn really what's happening in the trenches when it comes to a startup that's truly AI-powered, AI-enabled. The agenda for today. Now, this agenda is going to be in development, as I mentioned. This is the first of a series that we'll be doing. But I do want to start today with what results can you expect from AI-powered productivity? Next, a question that we get a lot. What's AI's impact going to be on your career, on the future of work? So we'll take a few minutes to talk about that. Then we'll move into AI for email. Then we will talk about, where did it go? AI for time management. Eitan, heads up, you're going to be going earlier than I thought. Then we move into AI for web and research. Now, the reason we're doing all of these in this order is I'll share with you as we get to each one. We'll be talking about AI for meetings, AI for data analysis, and then we got actually a bonus section, AI for prompting. So let's talk about this concept of AI for productivity, right? There's always some real, productivity hackers in any audience you go to. So let's go off script here for a second. And I want you to do me a favor. In the comments, I want you to type the word more if you think that you are more productive than the average business professional, of your peers or whatever. If you think you're more productive than most, that you're really paying attention to this stuff, just type more. But if you think you have a lot of room for improvement when it comes to productivity, do me a favor and just type the word less. There's no shame here. I promise your boss isn't watching this, so you don't have to worry about how you answer. But I want to show you something here. All the research shows that the average employee, the average knowledge worker, is spending at a minimum 2.5 hours per day just looking for the information that they need to do their job. Like, where was that file? Oh, I need to get access to this. Like all of those types of things, right? So, based on this number, we should probably all be fired, right? If we're spending this much time on not really being productive, but looking for the information that we need so that we can be productive. So I want you to think about this. Even if you answered more, if you consider yourself super productive, you're still probably spending more time than you realize doing things that AI could be helping you with. And if you answered less, well, I don't know how to put this. I'm not sure what you're getting done in a workday. Just kidding. But either way, like this is the first time I saw the statistic, it really landed with me because, I run a business. I work with a team of what I consider to be like high speed, highly effective individuals. And I would imagine that even in that environment where we're focused on leveraging AI and things like that, there's still opportunities for us to be using the tools better, faster, stronger in our role. So today, what you're about to learn how to use AI to do is create more time. Now, what this means is that for you, maybe that's more time with the family. Maybe you actually have weekends again. Or maybe, I'm going to make a suggestion here, you use that extra time to upskill on AI so that you can put yourself in a position for promotion, for career advancement, and really put yourself in a position for the next benefit you should expect, which is creating more revenue. Now, this one's simple. In this training, I'm about to show you research that indicates that an AI-powered employee is more productive. Surprise, surprise. You'll see that the majority of employers also think that those who are using AI in their role, they deserve higher pay and career promotions. And then obviously you'll learn from this, from learning these tools to be more productive. Hopefully you're going to create more enjoyment from your role, because we're about to show you how to offload the crap work, the stuff that you don't like doing, but it's expected of you. And it's that, kind of the last thing that you always do because you just put it off because you're not really interested in it. By learning how to use these tools that we're going to share with you today, you'll be able to spend more of your work day doing the things that you love doing, the things that you really enjoy about your job. So let's talk about this. What results can you expect from this training? Let's start by showing you why AI in your role or your business is important. And I think as you see the data, I want you to keep in mind that what you're about to learn is exactly how to do the things that these results are getting that we're going to show you in this research. A study that I reference a lot, it's well documented. It's a study between Harvard and Boston Consulting Group. They took about 800 Boston Consulting Group consultants. They split them into two groups. They said, hey, this group, just go do the thing. You guys know what you're doing. You're great at this. Just go to work. The other half, they said, hey, before you go to work, we're going to give you access to ChatGPT, and we're going to take about 10 minutes, really not like a deep dive into it. But this is what it does. Here's how we want you to use it, right? The results, as you can imagine, those that were AI enabled simply from using ChatGPT, not even talking about all the tools we're going to share with you today, they performed 12% more tasks, 25% faster, and that the tasks that they were doing faster, they were actually getting higher quality output. Now, I always, when I talk about this, I say just, kind of run a little back of napkin math on your own role or your team or your company. And what would the creating more time, creating more revenue look like if you were producing 12% more and it was happening 25% faster and it was actually better work than you were getting without AI being involved? I mean, I hate to use I'm a real human. I'm not, this isn't an avatar, but a word that ChatGPT uses a lot is game changer. I mean, I don't know how else to call this. This is like a new paradigm in, oh, got a notification. This is a new paradigm in business. This is the way of the future. Why would a business hire somebody who wasn't AI enabled, knowing that the AI enabled employee, leader, whatever, is getting these kind of results? So specifically, that group that we talked about with the 800 Boston Consulting Group consultants, and they split them in half. In a recent check-in, after the fact with that same study group, they found that the results most significantly impacted productivity. Now, what I love about this is that it shows that people who know this stuff they're doing better work. They're doing it faster than ever before. And they're enjoying their roles more because they're spending less time doing that administrative stuff. I mean, these are significant numbers. 84% saying that, yeah, it's saving me time. 81%, I'm doing better work because of it. 80%, I'm not spending as much time doing the crap work. So another gain that I really was impressed by was that almost 60% of these respondents said that they're saving 5 or more hours per week. What does that do for you? Maybe you check out early on Fridays. I don't know. Maybe you have, as I mentioned earlier, you have more time to study AI. Maybe, if you think about this, about 40% of the respondents showed they were doing something very smart with this time. They were using the time to upskill even further with their AI literacy, because this is smart. The compounding effect. And it starts with what you're learning today. Maybe it moves on to, you learn about agents. Maybe you learn about automations. Maybe you, because of you spending this time that you're going to start gaining, learning more about AI, maybe you move into a strategy role for your company. Maybe you start doing high-paid AI consulting. I don't care what it is, but I don't necessarily want you to just think, oh, great, I'm saving more time. Yes, with that time that you're saving, learn how to save more time, create more revenue, right? It becomes this compounding impact once you learn about AI productivity, that you will be truly in a different category, and you will understand why leaders want to pay you more, why they want to promote you more often, because you're getting results that the average employee cannot do it unless they are AI enabled. So moving on to the second topic, will AI take my job? Look, if you didn't pay much attention to generative AI and all that stuff in 2023, I get it. The market kind of had to figure out, what does this technology mean to the future of business? There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of, we'd see some examples of stuff, but they were kind of edge cases. They weren't necessarily applicable to your business. There was a lot of talk about how great AI was, but not enough examples of it really making a difference. Now, me and the rest of the team, with us being people who were immersed in this stuff from the beginning, we knew the impact it was going to have. And we fully expected that 2024 was the year where AI would just steamroll into businesses, right? And really start to transform what work looked like. And I can say, look, it's definitely gained momentum in businesses, but we still haven't seen that massive takeover I was expecting. But I can tell you this, it is coming. This quarter in particular, I've really noticed the momentum building towards this. And I fully expect 2025 to be the year where we'll start to see massive disruption. And this increased productivity, this increased revenue, the cost savings that we're seeing more companies having is only going to feed that momentum leading into 2025. So my forecast is that if you're not getting AI literate ASAP, that 2025, you will find yourself at serious risk in the next 12 months. Not being fear-mongering, nothing like that. I look at doing what you're doing today by learning about AI productivity. I see that as an exercise truly in self-preservation for your career and your livelihood. I mean, so the answer is AI is not necessarily going to take your job. I would say that was probably the most accurate forecast, is that it's not going to take your job, but somebody who is able to get those results that I've already showed you, they probably will. I mean, think about it. A role opens up at the company. You get a couple of candidates show up, right? Everything's equal in all regards. Went to the same school. Oh, they have the same job experience, same qualifications, same industry recognition, all that stuff. Wow, this is going to be tough. One has certification or credentials recognizing them as an AI expert. The other one does not. Now, knowing what you know from what I've shown you about how much time we spend looking for the data for our jobs, about the combined wins that people get with AI-powered employees and the wins that leaders are seeing. If this was your business, which applicant, I'm not saying it's a shoe-in for the role, but which applicant is going to go to the top of that list, right? I mean, obviously the individual who is capable of getting more production faster and better quality than the individual who's not. And that's why with all of the companies that we consult with and that we train, we're recommending that they start making AI training and AI literacy prerequisites for job promotion and employee raises. It does not make sense for you to be promoting people who aren't AI capable into roles where they're going to be directing other individuals. You want that person who's leading others to understand AI so that when somebody comes in, they can say, hey, let's try it this way. Hey, I just discovered this new tool. Hey, AI can do that for you so that you don't have to. If you don't have those individuals, and that's why companies are ascending AI literate individuals. Anyway, so some of the stats that really stood out for me, another survey with edX. Look at this. 87% of executives are struggling to find talent with AI skills, right? They want to hire these people, but they can't find them. And why do they want to hire them? Because the majority of them say that AI is already disrupting their business strategy. It is causing them to reevaluate the direction of their business and where it's going. Those same executives, of course, they're saying that somebody who knows AI should be paid more. And it's not because, they've got this shiny new thing. It's because they do more. They can produce more. Of course, you want to pay somebody like that more to stick around in your company. You don't want them going someplace else where they'll be appreciated, at least financially. And this was interesting. Most of them said not only should we pay them more, but they need to be in those higher status roles within the company because they can start to distribute this information to their coworkers, their direct reports, their team members. Most 40%, and this number has actually risen since we've seen this, they're requiring their workforce to learn these AI skills. As I just told you, we're suggesting to every company that we're consulting with or advising, you want to tie career advancement to these individuals growing in their AI skills. It's only going to help your business. And I mean, a third of those businesses are actually creating that role of the chief AI officer, which that's our company, chiefaiofficer.com. So we're paying attention to what's happening to people like you who are knowledge workers, who are, performing in the economy, but now they have to answer this question, how do I solve for AI in my role, right? So let me ask you, what are you doing about that, right? Being here is a great start for sure, but actually doing what you're about to learn is the next step, right? Not just sitting on here and checking email, but actually doing what we're going to be teaching you. So look, maybe some of you are saying, I just don't have time. Let's solve that. Learning how to start doing what you're about to learn will give you that time. And as I made a recommendation already, with that extra time, spend more time learning how to create more time with these tools. It becomes this environment where you are now that rock star, right? You walk into any business, any team or whatever, and they're like, oh, that's Chris. He knows AI, right? I'm telling you, people, especially the bosses, they want to know that their team is ready for where things are going. So the goal of today's training, of course, productivity is on the menu, but in the process of you learning AI for productivity, you're going to learn to do what we call think in AI. Now, it's a phrase that we've coined from our experience with people just like you. And it's when someone has that, oh, wow, that aha moment. And they start making those connections like, oh, wait a minute, AI can probably help me with this. Or, maybe I should go to AI for this answer, this help with this task or whatever. So by the end of today, you're going to start making that transition into being someone who is thinking in AI. And with that comes the ability for you to be put into really any situation in the work environment and be able to go, you know what? I got an idea. Let me go to ChatGPT. Let me use this tool. Okay. So let's get into the first tool today. Email is something we all have to use, right? However, I don't think anyone would say that email was their best communication line, or at least their favorite way to communicate. There's just too much noise. Depending on whose research you follow, Microsoft said that in 2024, this year, the average employee is spending almost 9 hours per week on email. That's over 20% of your day or your week spent in your inbox. Adobe actually says it's much higher. They're suggesting that it's closer to 15 hours per week. And that's on a 40-hour week. Now, I know most of us are working a lot more than 40 hours, and that's probably just so that we can accommodate some of this email. But on average, your teammates, anybody that's working for you, they're receiving 120 emails per day and drafting 112 responses per week. I mean, this is, I don't think anybody would say, oh, email, I've got it under control. Regardless, I think that we can say that reducing the amount of time we spend on emails could be a huge time saver. And that's where the tool that I've started using, Superhuman, comes into play. Now, there's certainly ways that you can use ChatGPT to help you summarize and write responses to emails that are professional or, best practice or whatever. But it's not the most efficient way. It does help, but it's not the most efficient. And we actually have prompts in our prompt library, which we're going to be sharing with you at the end of this. It's free software that we give you. Now, with Superhuman, though, their claim is that you're going to get back 4 hours per week. And that's not just the time you save that you have to spend on the emails. It's also this cognitive load required to switch context over and over again, right? Like you check in the inbox. Oh, this email, I just need to keep up with the back and forth. Oh, she said this, he said that. Oh, the meeting time, like all of that stuff, right? Okay, great. Next email. Maybe that's about scheduling a meeting. So let me go check my calendar and, I got to check with their calendar. And this is not new to any of you that are professionals. You're doing this stuff on a day-to-day basis. This becomes a big burden on your focus, right? Not to mention the lack of enjoyment from that drudgery. So we're about to do a quick demo of how I'm using Superhuman to save my 4 hours per week and probably even more. We're going to do some standard things that you do in your inbox and kind of show you what that looks like with Superhuman. Unsubscribing from all, using AI for searching on your calendar, setting reminders for future stuff, shortcuts, scheduling appointments, sharing availability, all those types of things. So with that, let me jump into my Superhuman real quick and share that screen with you. So Superhuman is a paid app. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be showing you today, they have free versions. And with this one, where are you, Superhuman? There you go. With this one, I think it's about $20 a month. Okay. So let me show you here. This is now the clean email environment that I use. Now you can access it. You can access it on your phone. But this is the desktop version. Now, looks like an inbox, but let's take a look at a few of these examples that I'm going to show you here. Okay. So let's just walk into this. So typically, this is one that I like a lot. Okay. So I've done it so much, there's not much in my AI news junk box anymore, but there's, especially if you're following AI, you've subscribed to some stuff, you're interested in growth and you're wanting to learn from all these things. And you end up with an inbox that is full of newsletters or updates or things that you're just not going to have a chance for. Now, I want to show you how easy it is. If once you get to that point, let's say in this case, it's with the Neuron. It's an AI newsletter. Now, once I'm in Superhuman, I'm on a Mac, so I simply type Control K, and it brings up all of the commands that are possible in Superhuman. Now, take into consideration, I'm walking through this slowly so I can explain it to you. But when I'm in motion using this, I think they're suggesting that you spend about 100 milliseconds on each email. That's like faster than it takes for me to respond to you when you ask a question. So this gets really quick. So what I'm going to do here is in Superhuman, I can just type unsubscribe. Okay, so I'm going to hit unsubscribe, but it gives me a couple of options. I can unsubscribe and mark done, or I can unsubscribe and clean up every newsletter. So let's do that. Every newsletter that they sent me, not only did I unsubscribe for it, but let's watch what happens. Boom, boom. It's automatically cleaning these out for you. Now, look, inbox zero, this concept, it may not be something that you're aspiring for, but if you're like me and you've got tons of these newsletters and stuff, this makes it very quick, very helpful. It's not just unsubscribing so I don't get more. It's cleaning out all the trash. That's one little easy use. Calendar. This happens a lot for all of us. Now, you can notice my calendar is actually listed over here. So I can see it real quick. Well, Chris, I can do that in Gmail. Yes, you can, but I'm going to show you a couple of examples here. Let's see. That's fine. Let me go back in the past and take a look at some. Okay, so it looks like I was invited to the Chief AI Officer Summit in Berlin. Let's take a look at this one. Okay, a booking with Max Friedman. So with this, I'm going to do the same thing. I hit Control K. So I can RSVP, of course. Let's just say I'm going to say yes and mark that done. That's now going to get added to my calendar. And for me to delete it, I just simply hit the shift button and it's gone. Let's take a look at some more of these. Oh, let's see here. Where are you, buddy? We're going to show you the AI side of things as well in just a moment. So here is, how about Robert wanted to have a consultation call with me. Now, maybe Robert's suggesting, let's take a look here. Robert is asking me if I can meet. We've got, let's say it's one of those things where it's like, hey guys, we've got to jump on a phone call ASAP because we've got a new client meeting that's coming up and this sort of thing. As I mentioned, that context shifting, I don't have to go in and take a look at my stuff. I can actually create an event. In this case, Robert wanted to do this. Let's take a look at, go to my calendar inbox. So these are all, this is the calendar inbox itself. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's take a look at, how about this one? Okay, so we're going to go back in here. Control K, calendar. So I'm going to take a look at my, actually I want to schedule. Sorry, guys. As I mentioned, we're taking we're learning a lot of this stuff in process. Damn it! This always happens when you do a demo, doesn't it? It was working fine. Let's jump into the AI side of things while I'm figuring this part out. So let's go back into my inbox. Now, one of the things, look, if you're like me, that's a ton of emails, and that's all these are just from really this month almost. So I know that Ashley and I have been having some conversations. So what I'm able to do is instead of going to look for all these things, I can simply go over here where it says Ask AI, and I'm going to ask it, when is my next appointment with Ashley Gross? This is just like using ChatGPT, except instead of going through all the parameters that ChatGPT has, it's searching my inbox and it's saying, okay, my next appointment with Ashley Gross is scheduled for October 22nd. This is for the Beyond Your Why podcast recording. Okay, great. I don't know that that's accurate, so we're going to keep working on this. Let's just see what happens. Let's try to break it. Are you sure? Oh, it's thinking. There was an error. Okay. Let's see. How about my next call with another member of our team, Segovia? Let's see what AI says. So this is good because if you've got a lot of stuff going on, like for instance, I don't know, we do a lot of business development deals over here, and I've got individuals who are wanting to have meetings. Looks like my next scheduled call with Segovia is October 4th for our executive check-in meeting. Okay, great. Now from this, I can actually take a look. You'll see these citations here. I can click on that, and it actually is going to list that menu. I mean, that event. So I can go straight to that email, hit yes. And then now once I'm done with that, going back here, I can simply need to hit trash and it's delete. Now, I'm going through the commands, but once you learn the shortcuts on the keyboard, it's like Shift 3, slash button. Like you're able to just really quickly dot, 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 and we'll run through some of that in just a second. Now, let's take a look at perhaps an email that I got from the team here. Oh, let's see here. Okay, this looks like exploring some synergies with a company. Now, you can see that it's gone Keith. I've sent some emails. Me and Karen have gone back, blah, blah, blah. Now, if I want to just catch up real quick with what's going on here, I can click here, and this is an AI-generated summary. Donald introduced me to Karen for potential collaboration. I shared some insights on AI's business and impact, suggested a call. So this is very helpful instead of me having to scroll through there, because if I do this in my Gmail inbox, like they all get expanded, and I don't even know where where I should be replying, right? Now, one of the things I may say, look, I haven't heard back from, this was August 26th, I haven't heard back from Karen. So let me go up here, type in, I'm going to have, actually, let's have Karen. That reminder just got set. Reminder set Monday, September 30th, if no reply. If I haven't heard from Karen by then, that's now, I don't have to worry about it, right? This looks like an email test email that we were sending out. Okay, great. In this case, I'm just going to delete it, which is gone. Wait a minute. Oh, wrong button. Gone. Okay. No, this is a long one. Let's take a look at what this one, right? So all of these back and forth over, I don't know, almost a month. I'm now able to quickly go in here and go, what was this about? Okay, blah, blah, blah. And I may even be able to say, when did we promote Tina to our, right? I might want to just, maybe there's a work anniversary that I want to make sure that I don't forget. So in this email sequence, we identified Tina, who's one of the fellows in our community, as she was really contributing. Okay. If you have more details. Okay. So we're still working on this. I'm going to tell it no. Didn't find the right emails to answer the question. We're going to do this actually. So what we're doing here, and this is like with any AI, you might hear this from people. They might say, oh, I tried it. It didn't really work. It's a process, and you're training these tools in this process. So let's see what were some other examples. And here, Obviously, you can move stuff very easily. Let's see. We've got this. Let me go back to the team. Okay, I made an introduction for Raj in this one, and I'm going to, oh, not that one. So we're still learning, guys. This is our first one, first time that we're doing this, and we're sharing with you tools real time. This is the concept is like a building in public. So this is what it looks like to work internally. Here's what I know. This tool is saving me time as I get better with it. And it's a tool that I've been working with for about 2 weeks now. But as I get better and better with it and really dial it in, I'm going to continue to share those wins with you. Now, moving on to our next, where are we? There we go. Moving on to our next tool. We've gone through this one. It is now time to talk about AI for time management and productivity. And I'd like to introduce Eitan Pollinger. Eitan's part of our team here on the marketing side and is a huge AI enthusiast. Eitan, do we have you available?
Hello, hello.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, and Eitan's going to tell you about how he's using Rise to really support his productivity. So the screen is yours, bud.
Perfect. Well, hello, everyone. This tool has actually been one of the things that I recently have been using, and it's been really incredible. So one of the challenges that I've been facing, and I don't know, everyone tells me, you got to manage your time, you got to know your time. And I've tried like 100 different tools to try and track that from Pomodoro apps to all these different time trackings to see how am I using my time and how to best maximize it. And where Rise comes in is it helps with a few things. One is it just tracks and monitors. Some people aren't going to like what I'm saying, but there's plenty of security and privacy. But it tracks basically the what apps you're in, what you're doing in your browser, and really helps to first categorize all the different actions that you might be doing and just real time, tracks it. So if I show you what it looks like, and we'll go through the different sections, you'll see, because it also provides you with an AI productivity coach. And this is really cool because if it all comes down typically to how we're managing our time, then it would be pretty important to know how we're using it and how to best use it, right? So let's go here. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through. Let me know if you see my screen.
Let's see here. Yep, we got you.
You got it? You see just kind of the Rise dashboard?
Yeah.
Perfect. So check this out. So there's a few things. If I show you yesterday, and some of you are going to think that I just, cranked out some work yesterday so I could flex on this call. Some of you are going to not think that I'm flexing at all and are concerned for my health. That's okay. But check this out. So there's a few things here. First thing is in our homepage, you can see kind of the day, right? So if we look at yesterday, for example, you'll see a breakdown that happened. And I didn't do anything besides hit start and apply focus sessions, which I'll get into in a moment. But it helps you kind of break down and see just your day and what's going on. And it categorizes the tools that you were in so you can go over it. So for instance, AI team is what I call ChatGPT and Claude and different tools that I'm using, all the time. You'll see that when we get to categories that I spend a lot of time using AI, pretty much half my day. And as we go in, it can really help to break that down. How much focus time, so 13 hours and 30 minutes I was on my screen working. Right. Then within that, including having dinner with my family, there was a 2-hour, 7-minute breaks. Right. So it helps you have this clarity. Now, if I was assigning this to projects, which you can also do, this is not necessarily meant to be your project management tool, really just a time allocation, and it shows you what's going on. Essentially types of tasks and even URLs can be almost, can be automatically applied. So if I go to chiefofficer.com or to our high-level accounts or to different things we have, it can automatically pull it into that project, right? So if we go to categories and you see how the day's been going, you see this is today as an example. It's counting right now. I don't know if you don't see my full screen, do you? Let me adjust this real quick so you can see my full screen. Because what you're not seeing is that right now, as we're doing this, let me do this right here. Yep. It's actually live right here.
Oh, yeah.
So you see right here in the corner, there's a little thing that comes out and it's telling me how much time I set for this focus time, which includes this web class, right? You can see how much I've been working today. And if I, click on here, I can start new sessions, or I can start a break, or I can start a meeting, or even, just kind of navigate that from within there. So this is today. As of yesterday, you could see I spent in ChatGPT, 3 hours and 40 minutes, right? And my docs, writing and editing and working with the stuff that I was building out there, another 2 hours and 39, right? But a majority of what I'm doing is having it write the things that I'm working on, all the different things I'm building, and then I can go in and edit. But you can see the different stuff here. You can even see Facebook, a conversation that was going throughout the day with my sister, right? And it's kind of saying, oh, okay, that's maybe longer than I even thought, right? And you can see all these different elements that are now telling you where you hang out, the different places I was reading. So this is very helpful when you actually want to see how you're managing your time, or what are you actually doing with your time to produce what you're working on and what you're doing, right? Same in the projects. Once you start to add projects, you can add stuff to it, right? So I need to get better at overall assigning to projects in this, but overall you could see productivity. It could show you throughout the day, so if I had yesterday was a big push, right? I really wanted to get a few things done. Can show your top interrupters. So Zoom meetings, obviously we can't all say no to our meetings. From the Facebook conversation that was going on, Slack interruptions, give you averages of different things of how long is you actually focused doing the work, right? You have your timer. And what's really cool about this is it pops up. So if I were to stop, for instance, I'm going to end this focus session just to show you how it looks like. It shows me all the different places I was at and what I was doing, right? So it
during
really
that
just
session?
helps. That's right. So during the session that I'm doing it, it's also tracking everything in that session. So I can know, what were the interruptions? What did I do that maybe I wasn't as focused as I should be? It's asking me to rate it. So I'm going to rate it at 8. And AI, in this case, there's not a score because it wasn't really doing much, but sitting at my screen. But if I do a start focus, you have this also option for different music, from lo-fi to, this has been my latest fun. This kind of beats for a retro futuristic Odyssey. I don't know why. It's pretty fun. But it's just great. And when a session ends, the music kind of stops, right? So it's not only the timer, there's all these manual things. It asks you for your goals. You're kind of committing to what you're going to get done in that time. And you add the project. So it's a lot of fun. You kind of get really more intentional with your time, which I think is a big piece of productivity. And it's not just me saying, it's the experts at this. So once you start your focus session or your meeting, or even if you start a break, you just have the tracking running throughout the day and you're good to go. You can also set goals. And I know I'm running here, guys. There's just a lot to cover, and I want to make sure you guys get a good idea of what this is capable of. You can set different minimum hours you want to do every day. You can set the 6-hour workday if you're trying to work, to really try and get as much done in 6 hours and then move on with your life, depending on what you're doing. And then you have your insights. What's in your face? What's bothering you? It shows that, meeting time was 18% higher because I had more conversations. But it's giving you all of these insights. Now, my biggest problem, as I said, was actually turning on the time trackers. That's why, one of the stuff that I really love about this is that it just does this naturally. And then I get to just manage it. Like most things with AI, taking away me having to do a lot of manual stuff, and it just does it for me. And then it produces results for me and tells me what I should do more or what I should do less. And it's giving me all of that insight. And the most powerful one, I believe, just for the ongoing work, are those time sessions. So that's kind of Rise right there. Just kind of, you have an idea of it. The categories are really cool, and you can play around and really get specific. If I wanted the web class, and just what, once you get your categories right, and you could just choose, what was in here. So obviously I was looking at something else for a moment, part of our social posts and things that we were putting out there. So I could say, well, this wasn't related. Actually, I jumped, right?
Yeah, we got a question from Mark about this. He
Yeah.
says, does this work on the focus window if you have multiple tabs open?
Yes. So if you have the multiple, so it's not going to take necessarily all the tabs, but the tab that you're on is the one it's tracking, because it's in your, if I go to this is for later, but let's say I go to some of the, I don't know, I'm doing, hey, pizza best. This is how my English is, but I guess I thank God for AI. I don't know how to write. So pizza best, right? And I just go through this random thing. Then what we have here on this corner, you see here, Rise is tracking and seeing that I'm doing this and telling me what to do. What do I got? What's going on, right? Perplexity is a different tool. If you don't know what this is, someone else will talk about it. But yeah, I mean, so it's basically tracking where I'm at. It's not having everything that's open, right? And I think that's kind of the key, because it's where you're spending your time, not necessarily what's overall open. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So let me ask you, what's the cost associated with this tool?
So this cost, I believe, was sitting at, it's like 16 a month or something like that, maybe less. I don't remember. I could tell
you.
Can
I ask you, what do you think the impact has been on your productivity and like just really under
12.
like 12 bucks a month?
It's
Something
what it
like
looks
that.
like here. Well, I'm on a free to premium, so I think but it looks like $12 is going to be my next payment.
What do you think this has? What's the impact it's had for you on understanding your workday, making you more productive?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, in the sense of this intentionality and being really in it has been really, really powerful, and it's been very, very helpful. And especially when it's kind of telling me, so you didn't see it here, but if I were to start going to Facebook or to other things, it's going to say, "Hey, you're distracted." It's going to like pop a little thing like, "Are you staying on track?" Right? And it's kind of like it asks you, like, and I could tell it, no, it's not a distraction. Like if I went on Slack right now, it would say, "Hey, are you still focused?" And I could tell it, no, this is part of it. It's not a distraction. Or I could tell it, thanks for the reminder, and it will pop it up again if you stay on that page. So it's kind of really like you have this productivity assistant who's there to make sure you're on track. You give it kind of your intentions. Then you later today, you can review what you did, because I know so many of us do so much right now.
Yeah.
You don't know what did I do today? Where was I? You're like, what? I did that for how long?
How has this changed your behavior throughout the day? Like, are you more aware, I guess, obviously, but.
Yeah, I mean, I think that awareness to being just present with, okay, I'm turning on a focus block. This is my intention. I'm going to get this done, or I'm going to do this thing. And then you go into it and and it's tracking it, and it's going to tell you when it's like 5 minutes close, it's going to ask you need a 5-minute extension. Like, you're in the task, you're in the game. And I guess the best way to say this is, when you have a timer on you, right, things are different, right? When you're in the game and there's like only 20 minutes left, or you start to push and do what you got to do to move it. So I think the increased accountability to the time plus the intention and all that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, as the Deming quote says, that which is measured improves, that which is measured and tracked improves exponentially. So great example. Thank you, Eitan. Next time we do one of these, I'm excited to see what the next tool that you bring up is. This is going to be very cool. Okay, moving on to, here we go. Let me share my screen here. Actually, Eitan, Segovia, we're going to have you step up next. We're moving into AI for web and research. Look, we all use web browsers, so let's use AI to make them less, as we just saw with this, less of an environment of distraction and something that actually helps us get that time back. Segovia, are you ready to pick up?
Yeah, and before I go in, because I know I'm really covering Arc, but I want to kind of soup up Arc with Perplexity. Is there anything you want to say about Perplexity before we jump into that, or are you covering that later?
No, anything that, and folks, if you're not familiar with Perplexity, you will be soon, but anything with Perplexity that you don't cover, I'll just chime in with my 2 cents.
Got it. All right, let's go. So my name is Segovia Smith. I am COO over here, Chief Officer, and we do a lot of busy things around the web, as I'm learning from Eitan as we go right here on like how I can spend my time in less Zoom meetings. I'm sure it would just say Zoom meetings all day. Let me see if I can share my screen. Now, I have a rather large screen, so I'm going to try and zoom in on an area of interest. And that's under the advanced tab. Let's see, portion of screen. Let's drag this down here. I want to be able to show you more than just one single browser.
So this seems like a basic thing, like a web browser. I can use Chrome. I can use whatever. Why is this important?
So I mean, here's the impression. I live, on the internet. As Aton just alluded to, what, 13 hours of screen time or something like that, workday. And whether you want to call that healthy or he was flexing, at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time inside of a browser. And the browser of, the last, if you can remember all the way back to, the browser wars in the early Netscape days and Internet Explorer and, they've all kind of had their time. And there was eras where I was like all in on Firefox, and then I was all in on Chrome for almost a decade. And Chrome really grew up as a browser in terms of it became its own operating system. You can go buy a laptop called a Chromebook that is nothing other than a browser. So, when you have an operating system, the browser almost is like an operating system within an operating system, right? Whether you're Mac or your PC, now you can do a lot on the web based on cloud computing and all the other things. Like, you no longer need Photoshop. You can just do it all into Canva, and you don't need to have that because the CPU cycles, all the graphic stuff, they all happen inside the browser. So when you spend as much time in a browser as we probably all do, the question becomes it's almost an invisible experience. You don't really think too much about it. But the nice thing in what Arc did as a company is they basically said, we're going to reinvent the browser. We're going to reinvent the way that people actually experience the internet with intentionality. Now, my background comes from product management. And so product managers, we take the problem and we look at the customer and the problem that they're facing, and we work backwards to make solutions. So when the team, who is, made up of a lot of product managers, looked at the problems that people have and they face every day, from an overflowing amount of tabs to, just quickly being able to use, as Chris was mentioning before, with those shortcut keys inside of Superhuman, right? Once you get to know a few of these keystrokes, in Superhuman's case, it's Command K. In, this browser, in Arc, it's going to be more Command T for new tab, or, there's a lot of other keystrokes you can kind of get into. But essentially, it's how do you make the experience of the browser kind of become more empowering? I almost think Arc is like a superpower for browsers. And so they're also one of the first AI-powered browsers, and Arc is actually built on top of the Chrome OS. So any plugins that would work inside of Chrome are going to work inside of Arc. And I say that with an asterisk that, I probably have 100 Chrome extensions, only ever found one that didn't work for some weird reason. And I think it was a deprecated function that they were calling. But essentially, from a presentation perspective, if I'm going to share my screen and I have Arc as my browser, I can get everything out of the way. I can even take this top bar, which I intentionally unhid, which is the place where you can find your extensions and other things like that. And I can actually make that go away. So it almost feels like it's a slide presentation. But if I want to pull up my tabs, I can just hit, in my case, Command S. I don't remember how many of these shortcuts I've customized, but that'll pull up the sidebar. And I find I'm a tabaholic. Like, I can go to those AA, tab meetings and say, look, I've got 200 tabs open at any one time running on my computer. Yeah. The reason I go to the Apple store is to buy the best, most expensive, MacBook Pro that they sell, so that I can open 200 tabs and not break a sweat, and still be doing a live stream like this and not have my computer just crash on me. So, in that aspect, being able to hide and move those things away is a first nice component of it. They set it up where there's spaces. So in a call that we were just doing, I think it was earlier this week, or it might have been last week on Friday, somebody was asking in our community about how, can you log into all the different facets of Google? Because when you sign into Chrome, you can like sign into this browser and you can log in as like identity one, and maybe that's your work identity. And then you have to actually open a new browser, right? So you got two now windows floating back and forth. Like, here I've got the foreground and I've got the background. So you open up a second one, you log into Chrome under another identity. Well, in my case, I'm a consultant. I work with clients. I've got multiple, kind of personalities. Sometimes I'm logging in even as Chris Daigle. Sometimes I'm logging in as one of our support accounts just to be able to check that Gmail. And I don't want to have to go through the burden of logging in, logging out, logging in, logging out. But even on a Chrome standard work interface, I would end up having, 8 different browsers all open with, 3 to 10 tabs in them, so that I can switch between these different identities. Arc has solved that by creating this thing called spaces. So you can actually have down here, you can see in the bottom, I have these spaces And I've got one for my default. I've got one for tasks. I've got a book publishing. I've got business projects, project management. So each of those spaces can be a layer of tabs, and you can switch between those different spaces. And they actually show down here. Here's let's see, what does this say? Meet the browser that supports your needs. I think, yeah, they're actually showcasing spaces, okay, for different aspects. And each one of them might be, one is personal, one is your, work life, one is a project you're working on. But in addition to what I said with those Chrome tabs, you can actually set up those spaces to have different identities. So one could be signed in as my Google account that's personal, Gmail, and one could be signed in as my work, business Google account. Another one could be signed in as our support desk account. And all I have to do is switch between those spaces. Again, everything gets out of the way, and I just have the one single browser. I don't need a cascade, 8 different browsers to accomplish the same thing. There's another aspect which is more of a fun, sizzle, piece, but you can actually customize all of those spaces with different colors to say, this one is pink. Okay, I know that's our chief officer workspace. This one's going to be like black. This one's going to be green. This one's blue. And that way I can quickly identify where I'm at. But you can literally take this a step further. It's not like a super amazing feature that I think, but for people who have, like they wear glasses, or and I worked with a podcast, and the guy literally had a magnifying glass that was on a boom arm that he would move in front because there was no font on his computer that would get big enough. And he was, he was probably going to be clinically blind within the next 5 years. And so what's interesting is you can take, besides just Command Plus to zoom in everything and max out your computer, you can actually customize the fonts, the colors of real websites. So if you read, Huffington Post every day and you don't like the contrast colors of their website, you can literally say, whenever I'm on this website, I'm going to change the color palette, the font size, and everything so that it is easier for me to consume this news site that I always read. So that's sort of an interesting, fun fact. But when the other thing is about like AI, there are lots of little power tools under the hood that are utilizing AI in different ways. So I'm going to just bring up, if you are in the browser and you press Command, comma, I'm going to bring up the settings. Now you can see this is a little, badge. It's like, yeah, this is my badge. I've been using Arc since April of 2023. So it's about 18 months, plus or minus. And if I go over to this general tab and you see it says manage your default search engine. Now you heard me reference Perplexity, and I'm not going to go deep into Perplexity right now because I want to give Arc the spotlight feature here. And we've covered Perplexity in our challenges in a lot of places. But if you're not, saying, oh, did you Plex that? Right? You're not using Perplexity as often as you need to. And that's, supplementing the phrase, did you Google that? Right? That's our internal jargon. Everybody on our team uses Perplexity for their default and in all their search functions. So you can go under this profile setting. And as I was just alluding to, you can create multiple profiles and say, this is the one with Google attached to these accounts. And you can even get into the details of which passwords are being associated and security, addresses and so forth. But the main thing would just be to come in here and change it from the default, which would be Google, and switch that up to Perplexity. Okay. Very easy to do. Now you're combining, the superpower of Perplexity with Arc. And when we get into shortcuts, which we'll do here in a second, you can really start to see some magic happening because you're just literally a couple keystrokes away from getting, the result you're looking for. In addition to that, if we go back under this Mac tab, I don't know that they're charging for this yet, but I think there's like an enterprise version. Again, so Chris, you asked the question, how much is it? Arc is free. They used to have a wait list for like the first year that I was in, and you had to get an invitation. So I don't know how often they're throttling, that over usage just to get mass adoption, and if they still have any wait list. But I have an invitation URL, and I'll pop that on a slide at the end so you guys can get it in case there is a wait list. Otherwise, you just hit up Arc on your search engine and you should find it. But within here, there are toggled features you can turn on. So I don't actually use the tidy tab thing because I like to leave something somewhere and know exactly where it is. I don't want something reorganizing my stuff for me. But there's one that I do use is ask. So imagine you're on a web page and you are going to do a search, and I'll perform this in a second. And it's a long TLDR, too long. I don't want to read this. I just need the information. Obviously, you start with Perplexity and it'll like boil the ocean for you and give you the outputs with those citations. But there's times where you want to click into that citation and you actually want to do the research, but it's still more time than you want to invest in looking at it. You can just hit Command F like you would on a normal web page. For those that don't know, Command, I'm on a Mac, but Control F if you're on a PC. And what that'll do is it'll allow you to search the page for the keyword that you may be interested in, right? And when you do a search on that, it'll just like obviously link you down and zoom the page to whatever, you know, a third of the way down to that area. In ARC's case, it's actually, it'll default to Command F, search the page. But if nothing comes up, it's going to say there's nothing with that on this page. Do you want to ask a question? Or you could ultimately just say, I want to start using AI to ask a question. So when you think about the use case of I'm on an article, I'm now going to have to copy and paste this entire article onto my clipboard, go over to, let's say ChatGPT, paste the article in to ChatGPT and start saying, okay, now here, ChatGPT, let's have a conversation here. This is the content. Here's my question around it. And that's, taking 11 seconds. And our team is all about shaving, everything we can do. If we can shave 7 seconds off of this task and 7 seconds off of that task, by the end of the, month, we've shaved off hours and hours of time times X number of people per the team size. So being able to actually invoke a layer of ChatGPT, which, by the way, in order to use this, you don't even need to bring your own API key. It's just built in to the browser's functionality, where some of the other tools you have to say, okay, well, give them your API key from your paid account with ChatGPT. So you can use that, and I'll demonstrate that here real quickly. So if we go, I've got an article that I pulled up in one of these tabs. And it's, ARC has changed the way I use in my Mac. And, it's a great article. You could read it. I'll give you a link afterwards, but it's got a lot of details. So if I come in here and I go Command F, and you'll see if I look for, I've got something on my clipboard, right? So I'm going to paste in, how does the spotlight feature work? I'm going to ask it. It normally would go, okay, we didn't find that exact phrase, but it's now going to read the article for me on my behalf. It's going to start presenting information. Okay, this is how you do it. Command T is how you pull up the spotlight. Control T if you're on a PC. By the way, ARC used to be, it was originally Mac for the first year. And somewhere in the last couple of months, they launched a PC version. Chris, did you have a question? You look like you're leaning in.
No, nope, I'm just paying attention. Yeah, I'm watching for, we're going to have here we go. We have to take a break real quick. We've got one of our board, Ashley, has 10 minutes in between meetings, and we've asked her to pop in. So we're going to
take a pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Ashley, welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Totes. So Ashley's going to share. She knows what the topic is about. And she's going to share some of the productivity tools that she's got. We've got 600 seconds for her to do that.
Did I just hear you say totes?
Totes.
Take it away.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let me make sure that you are all seeing the screen that I want you to see. Awesome. So as far as productivity goes, I really like to make the most out of my note taker. This is one of my favorite tools to use, not only because it takes notes for me, it makes sure that there's an agenda, that people are respecting my time, yada, yada, but also because if you go to the coaching feature, especially if you are, leading a team, thought leadership, executive presence in general, it gives you where you could improve, and not just
so we're seeing linkedin.com/article. Is that where we should be?
No. Hang on.
So ladies and gentlemen, there's an article pending. Here we go. So this is read.ai.
Yes.
Okay, great.
So meeting note taker, bottom of the barrel use case. It is amazing, but use all the features, because here's what I really like as far as productivity. It tells me my average talking pace, right? So if I go through the calls where I have a higher talking pace, it's probably because I was short on time, nervous, either due to lack of practice or lack of preparation, or there was another reason. But either way, it kind of holds me accountable of, here's your normal talking rate. Here are the calls that you are going faster or going slower. Make sure that you're doing better in the future. And here's the exact areas that you are speeding up. So from a productivity angle, this very much does two things for me, right? It takes my notes, sends me the agenda, sends me the expectations and KPIs because of that agenda without me having to lift a finger. But it also tells me my talking pace. It tells me my filler words, and it tells me what they are. I love saying like, and kind of. My non-inclusive words, I say hell a lot, and that is one of them. interruptions, which I'm very proud of because I don't have any. So this also tells me who has been interrupting me. Luckily, I work with some of the best, wonderful, empathetic creatures on the planet, so they don't interrupt me. But if they did, and if I was in another organization where that was somehow tolerated, this is a really great way to say, hey, based on XYZ meetings, here's the times that I'm getting interrupted consistently. Now it's no longer a feelings and emotions thing. It's data, which is always great because it takes, the emotion out of it and just says, you're interrupting me X amount of times. We got to work on that. You can actually put the interruptions into the notes. So in a more passive way, you can kind of say, like, here's a recap of the meeting, and then it'll say, so-and-so was on this call and interrupted you this many times. So if you're trying to kind of like grow, your backbone and try to get more confidence, and you don't want to necessarily have that conversation, it allows you not to, but it does for you. Bias is really nice. So this one tells you if you have an over sentiment to the people that you're talking to, or not enough, right? And it scores you on it. Charisma is really great because it tells me as I'm speaking, if Chris is texting and not paying attention to me, the charisma for him will be negative. Again, like, this is really great. And it tells me like who's my highest, who's my lowest. Doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like what I'm saying. It just means, hey, I'm coming in here with a certain amount of time and I need to accomplish XYZ. While I'm doing a retro on communication and meetings and note-taking, this is a great way to say, I don't know if those people were engaged. Maybe it's me problem, maybe it's the them problem, but either way, let's address it. And then the questions asked. Some of the best people in this space and some of the best thought leaders that I know ask really good questions. And so this is a great way to train yourself, but also train your team on asking really great questions, because that is a key leadership trait, is just the ability to ask good questions and answer good questions. And then you can also do a million other things that are really wonderful. But one of my favorites, and I will hide this, you can source. So I can actually log where my calls are coming, like how many times am I having a Zoom call versus a Google Meet call versus a Microsoft Teams call. This is really nice for when budget season rolls around and maybe some of your team members are saying, we want the pro version of Zoom. And you have no idea whether or not to track if you indeed do need the Zoom version. So you can go and see how many of those calls are actually taking place on which application in order to determine if you need to spend your budget there. You can also tag. So something that I really like to teach people is how to tag your calls. And then this integrates with whatever calendar you're using. So it will tell you, out of all the calls that you're taking, here is where you're spending the most time. It's one-on-ones, it's education, it's external, it's planning. Again, it's just a really good automation for holding yourself accountable, knowing where your time is going and how you're spending it, and then making improvements, because we should always be iterating and trying to get better. There's a million ways you could integrate this with a bunch of other tools. So I could push this to Slack. I could integrate it into any of my CRMs, Asana. So as I'm taking these calls and verbally having a conversation with, let's just say, Chris, and we're going through our to-do list back and forth, as soon as I say, okay, so your to-do list is XYZ, Read AI is actually capturing that and performing to-do lists and writing them down based on what his to-do list is and what mine is. If it's integrated with Asana, it automatically schedules those assignments out. So we're not interrupting our workflow at all. And we're not having to take notes during a call. We can be present and actively listen. And then after the call, there's no retro that's needed. We're both very much understanding what it is we need to do in the time frame, and we have that embedded into the rest of our tech stack for the rest of the organization to understand as well.
And then obviously with Zapier, you can really do some crazy stuff, or webhooks.
Yes, you can also integrate it with Make. So something really nice is whenever, we do discovery calls, if it's a discovery call during a meeting and they ask a question that, I didn't have a case study for, or I didn't have a visual for, I can set up an automation that is triggered by when I say a word in a call, like, oh, I'll get the case study on XYZ. As soon as I say XYZ, it triggers an automation for Make to send that point of contact an email with that case study.
Very cool.
It's productivity, but I feel like it's not even productivity. That does it a disservice to say it's proactively being the best version of yourself and taking accountability for the 3.0 version you are and how to get to the 4.0 version.
And I know, Ashley, you've got a call in 3 minutes. Why read over some of the others?
I have been using Read for, I think, 2.5 years now. And like I said, I'm a big supporter and believer in using the free version of tools and using every aspect of them and specializing in them, if you will, so that you're getting the most ROI out of them before you proceed onward. Read AI has been incredibly ethical. They pass GDPR. They do not, use your data to train its models at all. I like the ethics, the data security, and the evolution of their product roadmap because I know based on the version I was using 2.5 years ago to now, it's only continued to help me eliminate more tools in my tech stack that were duplicates of what they're creating.
Very cool. All right. I know you've got other calls. Thank you for popping in, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Ashley Gross.
Thank you for having me.
See you soon. All right. Segovia. We were talking about Perplexity integrated with Arc, and there was a question from Jonathan. He said he's on his laptop. Is it arc.net?
Yes, it is arc.net, ARC.net. Correct.
Okay, great.
Shall I finish up with some more demoing?
Yeah, in particular, the integration with Perplexity, and then I've got a few comments on Perplexity as well.
Great. So basically, let's go take a look at what that looks like. If you are in any place, and I'm going to hit Command T, which pulls up what they call the spotlight bar. That's what I was talking about earlier. Now, within the spotlight bar, let's just take some ideas from what is the spotlight. It comes from the origin of Mac. Mac has a spotlight. You can do searches across every layer of, files on your computer, the web and a whole bunch of other things. So they just sort of borrowed that as a term. So within Spotlight, you can switch tabs very quickly. If I want to switch into another tab, I can it's almost like Command T gets me over there. There, I can switch back over to that other article. Now, you can imagine if you've got lots of different tabs open, you can even Command tab over and say, type in something else like prompt vault, and it'll figure out what that is, and you can switch into that tab. But what I like is now I am, again, sort of a power user of computers, but I use another tool, which we're not covering today, but I'll just mention it. It's called Text Expander, and I think it might be exclusively for Mac, but there are very many tools that do this on a PC as well. And it'll allow you to create a macro or a shortcut you can type in a couple characters that you're never going to make in a real sentence, and it'll expand that with functionality. So in my case, if I was to go to, let's just do a search actually. I will type in, so right now all we're doing is Command T, and I'm going to pull up that same search that we did earlier. How does the Spotlight feature work? And I search the page for that, but I'll just say in Arc. Okay, let's just say the Arc browser. And now I hit search. It's going to take me instantly because we set up the default as Perplexity. So it's going to take me to Perplexity. It's going to automatically put the cursor down there, type the words in, paste it for me, and now I have a result back. I did not have to open a new tab. I might not even have Perplexity open at all. And I can instantly just start to read the results. Again, being an audio learner, I would just go, in my case, copy all of this. I would hit Command or Alt Escape on my computer on a Mac. It'll start reading that to me, and I can go back to reading something else and switching tabs and doing other functions while the computer is actually reading aloud, whatever it is that I want to research. Switching only back if I want to click on a citation. That's just sort of a power tip. Now, what I was suggesting before, if I want to, let's go to Prompt Vault. And if I'm working inside a Prompt Vault, now we're not going into Prompt Vault. I think maybe if there's time at the end, we can do a little bonus round on this. But essentially, this is where I'm going to be optimizing prompts and working with the various prompts that we use across our team for functions of creating social media to sentiment analysis, whatever my daily functions are. I'm going to use this autofill feature to essentially complete this particular prompt. And it's essentially a blog, generate 3 innovative blog posts for the ideas with generative AI. And we want to cover like engaging using the concept of AI at work, which is the topic of what we do a podcast on, a 3-day challenge on. So I can copy this. And now, again, I'm not going to go to another browser tab. I'm just simply going to invoke Command T, and I will type in comma GPT. And without pressing anything else, Well, that was a failed demo. Oh, this is where it goes off the rails. Oh, Command T, comma, GPT. I might have destroyed this earlier when I was trying to prepare for it. What it's actually supposed to be doing is, let me see, GPP. Okay, I'm going to go through this in slow motion. If I type in chat, GPT, and tab, all right, there's this is just all that you need to remember, folks. You type in chat GPT tab inside of the spotlight bar, and it will allow you to now put whatever's on, you can type something out or you can paste something in. So I'm going to paste in that particular prompt that we just grabbed from Prompt Vault. Hit enter. It's now opening a new tab. It's going to invoke the cursor. It's going to press return for me. It started the conversation with ChatGPT, and I'm getting my results back. So without having to say, remember where we did this inside your browser under the profile settings. Notice how Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Perplexity, like ChatGPT is not a search engine. It doesn't consider itself a search engine, and neither does Arc consider it a search engine. But I get 2 superpowers for the price of 1 with this ability inside of Arc. I can simply invoke ChatGPT by typing it out and hitting tab, and now it switches over to become a search inside of running a command with ChatGPT. So that's another little AI feature. Chris, I could probably talk for another half an hour on this, and maybe we want to cover more deeper features within Arc on a future call, so we can keep things in the interest of time and running through some of your other tools.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So and guys, here's the thing with this. This is the first time we're doing it, so this is kind of a learning opportunity for us. We think, oh, this will only take a few minutes, and then we start getting into the weeds on these things, and we're like, oh my gosh, there's so much you can do here. I recognize most of the audience that we have here is probably familiar with with Perplexity. So I'm not going to go into Perplexity on this one for the sake of time, but there is a new tool that I'm not familiar with that Eitan had suggested we discuss, and that was raindrop.io. And Eitan, if you're ready, we can talk about Raindrop.
Yes,
and tell us a little bit about it.
Awesome. Well, here we are. I don't know if you guys see me, but I am here. I promise.
There we go.
So Raindrop. So one thing that we would have thought of probably is also like a Raindrop R connection. I'm sure it works really well together. But what I'll talk about is Raindrop. I've been using it in Chrome, mainly because I started setting up Arc, and then the last tweaks to make it efficient for me were still on the back burner until I could get it. So, but with Raindrop, what's really cool is, one of the biggest challenges I was facing after time is also this idea of, okay, how the heck do I manage all these different resources, all these different, bookmarks and tabs and documents and images and workspaces and links and softwares and really finding it all in a really easy way while I'm working on something. So what Raindrop does phenomenally, and I'll show you, and I'll show you what that means with the AI side of it, is it helps you take all your bookmarks, create these workspaces almost in a very easy way in your browser. And it's, and it will work with Arc, it work with Chrome because it's based on Chrome, is that you're able to create these spaces that just has all the work, all the links, everything you need, documents in one space that can be visually nice and also just easy to find. So if I share my screen, let me bring that to the main view. I'm going to show you the overall unappealing, and then we'll go from less appealing to more appealing. So let me share my screen. Let me know when you see it. We're good?
Yep. No bookmarks.
Great. So there's no, right, perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. So I'm going to show you basically how this looks like. So on one side, I have here the Chrome extension. On the other, I have the app open, the one out of 3 bookmarks I'm keeping on the top there. And then it also can be on your desktop. So whether it's Apple or PC or whatever it is. What you can do with this. So one is the breakdown. So you import all your bookmarks. It's really easy to do. And it can start categorizing and organizing it already for you. Then you can build out new spaces. So for instance, I have my chief officer space right here, and I was looking at some productivity tools, right? Or different things for productivity. So you can see that if I go to, for instance, this web class, all the different work that are related. So this looks kind of that's not too sexy, but if we change it into a nice little mood board, I suddenly have all the different work in the different spaces in my Google Doc right here. I have the ads we were built, a few of the posts we were sending out, and even to our email sequences or the things I've been working with to be inspired by. If we look at the productivity tools, you'll see the same thing here. You can change kind of the views of all the different resources that I was kind of looking at, right? So one is just the gathering, right? In a way that you can see also what you got, right? So that's, I would say phase one is being able to capture, right? Just hitting something, being able to give it tags. And this is what's cool. So if I go, for instance, to this tool here that I was looking at, I don't know what this is. It's not part of today's training, but it was one of the tools I was looking at that might be something that would be interesting to add because, while there's what I'm using, I was also wondering, like, this looks cool. It has something to do with Slack. I don't know. I'm not using it. But what I could do here now is I could hit this right there and I have my bookmark and I can leave a note. I can add tags. I might say, I could say, Slack AI, and I can give it all kinds of tags. So later AI can help me find it, categorize it, and really understand through natural language processing and knows how to find things later. I could say, this might be cool, right? And then I have my connection here. Another thing that's cool though is I could say, you know what? Before that, I want to highlight this page too. So look at this. So now I'm on this page and I could either do Control-Shift-S or I could just scroll on it. So if I just even scroll and I'm right here and I just go over this and I hit that Control-S for a sec. So you'll see that suddenly I have this new option on this page and I can add different colors and I can add comments to this page. And I can say, that is a cool headline, right? And I can update that and I could go down here. Maybe I really like, kind of what I'm seeing here. So let's see, I can add some color here to the different elements, right? But if I wanted to, so the idea is later, not only is it collecting this page, it's collecting the different elements that I've also highlighted on it, right? So if I even collect this, say, and I don't write anything, I just highlight it. Later, when I go into, where did we put it? And I put it into just overall, we'll put it into productivity right there. Let's say, look, right? When I go here, and this should be joining in this, maybe I need to refresh it. But if I go back here, there we go. So you'll see already, even the highlighted notes are here, the blue one and the green one that I did, right? So you're actually able to not only take the page that you wanted, but the things that were cool in it. So you're able to just really have this companion that you're gathering while you're on the web, because there is so much on the web and we're moving between things all the time. But we're able to collect and keep and save the most important parts so we can later see. So not only is it for the pages though, right? And you can see here the different workspaces and what's going on, but you can also see, for instance, notes. So this is all the things I was highlighting or said recently. So you could see all the different things I've been kind of collecting or working on, or I was looking over here and I was like, oh, this is a new, an image generation one I didn't use. So I may want to look into that. Every morning I'm looking at my news, but you could see all the different elements of things that I'm collecting or putting notes on. Right. But it's the same, for whatever it may be, or just highlights. This would be just everything I highlighted. Right. And from Feedly, which is a tool for a different day. But you can see all this, all this jazz. Documents, right? All the documents that are in my, this would have taken me a year to find all my documents that are in my bookmarks, right? But it just pulls it for you automatically so you can find all the documents that you bookmarked, right? Same with videos. I don't know what's in here, so we'll see. But you can see, some powerful ads, some stuff that I just randomly collected. I even forgot I had a lot of these. These are things that just came with it, right? But it's helped me organize it. So what am I using Raindrop for? Just to kind of, I know I'm jumping around here, But if you think about as collecting all the different things you're looking at that matter, or for projects like we're doing this productivity web class, all the different elements that relate to it, so I don't have to look again. Or if I'm going to create another web class, which we will, I have all the assets in one place so we can recreate it or find what worked very easily without having to jump around. So just having this kind of, it's not where I manage a product. It's not where I manage my time. It's not where I do any of that, but it's really just this repository of all the links, all the work that's related to certain things. So that's kind of how I'm using RangerUp at the moment. As I'm reading stuff, this is where I collect my ideas or places where I'm doing research. But that's kind of the main points of what I'm using that for right now.
Well, this is cool because people are going to get to see. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so what I'm understanding, this is not a browser. This is a site that is basically a bookmark superpower. So this will work with Arc.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's a bookmark superpower. And if I go and let me just show you one more thing here, because this is really cool for collaboration. So if I were to actually want to share this mood board, right, so to speak, I can actually go and I just have this this incognito browser here. But do you guys see the switch there? Did it switch?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I just go to what I just shared, you essentially can share with your team or whoever you're working with to have the same access to this, even if they're not doing it. And they can just upload it, or they can upload, can I upload? I guess I can embed it. That's cool. I didn't even know that. You can embed this. But you basically can create your workspaces that you could share collaborative work just so people have other access. I didn't share it, so not much of a collaborator on my side, but but you could.
As a comparison to that, we actually I didn't get into this portion, but inside of Chrome or Arc rather, you can do the same thing. So if I'm doing a demo, with a client or a prospect, or showing off some tools or what have you, at the end of that, I can highlight like here's just 4 or 6 or 8 tabs of the entire session. And I can just right click and say share, and it'll pop open a link that then I can pop it in the Zoom or whatever, and they can go to all the same links. So similar in terms of functionality. The layout, I think, with the mood board is kind of different, but very useful.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's again, it's all enhancing and working together. But it's a very cool. I've found this to be a very cool way to just okay, I have everything. I know where it's at, because it took me, I don't know, just until I had this, I was always, where is that thing? I had like bookmarks and bookmarks within bookmarks. I know someone who's using Arc probably didn't have that, but but that's kind of been my experience at least.
Well, this is great because that stat that I brought up earlier, average knowledge worker spending 2.5 hours per day or more looking for the knowledge to work with. And something like this combined with the rise, which is making sure that I'm not, looking at kitty cat pictures and doing that in an Arc environment and combining that with all of these things, as Segovia was talking about, we're shaving time off of everything that we do. And maybe we don't get to where we're, complete cyborg, and everything's 100% productive, but at least that frustration, because here's what happens when you start looking for the information. Yes, you're looking for it, but also, ooh, shiny object. Oh, distraction. Oh, so it's not just that you're looking for the information. It's that's opening you up to where you're not truly focused on something, and you have the opportunity to not just not find the information, but to get pulled away from the task. And, oh, well, let me handle that. Oh, hold, back and forth, back and forth. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole for sure when it comes to productivity. However, 2.5 hours a day looking for knowledge, it turns my stomach. And if that's true for any of us, like, that's time that we could be being humans, so much more than anyway. So I'm going to move on to this one, which was AI for slide presentations. Now, if any of you participated in the challenge, you saw a quick demo of the tool that we're about to talk about here. And the thing that I like about this is it's an interesting application. It's very easy win here. If you're not producing a lot of slide presentations, look, even if you're doing this regularly, it still takes a lot of time. But you've at least got some patterns and some routines, and I've got templates. You're faster than the individual who only has to do it maybe once a month for that standard, like company update or whatever. But so what I'm going to share with you here now is not just a faster way to do it, but it's also an opportunity for you to stand out amongst your peers as, somebody else shows up with a Google Doc and is like, here you go, here's the update. You show up with a prepared presentation. And everybody else in the room starts, like, uh-oh, should I have done more to prepare? And that's in a professional environment, you stand out by your performance and your professionalism, right? Bringing donuts on Friday is a great idea too. But if there's consistency and you're always showing up as the individual who, oh, they're using AI, oh, they're prepared, you're not spending a ton of time doing this, but everybody else who's not AI literate or AI enabled, they have no idea how to, like, if they're doing this the old way where they're going to sit down kind of like and start working on slides, there's not enough hours in the day. And with you
Chris,
having, yeah.
I just want to mention that you're sharing your entire desktop. So the presenter node is actually blocking the rest of the slides.
Sorry about that, guys. Let's do this.
You're good.
How about this one?
And now I get a black mark for interrupting.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. So the tool that I'm going to talk to you about is Gamma. In the past, you might have heard us recommending beautiful.ai, which is a fantastic tool. However, with Gamma, let me see here if we can get this to run. There we go. It's using AI to build these slide decks. Now, if this was a situation where it was like, I need to present a multi-million-dollar deal or whatever, I might not use Gamma. I might actually hire somebody and that sort of stuff. But for the use case I'm about to share with you, which is something that we're going to build real time, it's going to come in handy. Gamma is a tool that helps you create these presentations easily and quickly, like PowerPoint, but with, I don't know, creating a PowerPoint with his, I don't know if anybody else was impressed with Ashley's 203 words per minute or whatever that was. That was incredible. This is like the equivalent of Ashley speaking for it to be a slide deck. It gets done this quick. So I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to open up a session with Gamma real quick. And I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to walk you through a real life case study. So it's gamma.app, and we'll be sending all of these out to everybody in the follow-up email. But let me share my screen here. Okay, Gamma. Okay. So I guess the most exciting use case that I found was I was kind of under pressure. We do a call, and you may have heard me mention this before, but we do a call on Mondays in our community. They're free calls, and they're calls about AI tools, right? Tools that we're using in the business. And this was during the spring update for ChatGPT. They had just released 4.0, and they had shown a lot of like new functionality. Everybody was very excited about it. And it wrapped up, that the final demonstration wrapped up about 26 minutes before I was due to present on the Monday tool call. I already had a presentation prepared, but I thought, man, like, wouldn't that be awesome if this just wrapped up and I can present to everybody what the updates are in a professional manner. So that's exactly what I did. And I had 26 minutes left. And with the process I'm about to show you now, I was able to do the research, build the slide deck, be ready to present it, and still had 15 minutes left before the call. So this use case would be you're in a it's work, and there's like, hey, Chris, the meeting is here. The consultants are in town and the boss flew in. We need you to present on something. And you go, uh-oh, I don't have, I wasn't prepared for this. This is how you show up looking like an absolute, what would be the appropriate word? An asset to the company. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to recreate that same scenario where it was the OpenAI spring update. So what I did is I'm going to go in here, and this is an example of thinking in AI. So I'm not yet using Arc, which that will be something that gets fixed this weekend. But what I did was I went to Perplexity, and I simply went, tell me about the updates that were announced in the spring update presentation for ChatGPT 4.0. Now, a quick note, prompting and that sort of thing, a little off script. So our original chief AI officer was fantastic. He was more of the creative type and not one to be constrained with four walls of an office. However, the sloppiest prompter I'd ever seen. He didn't worry about proper English, didn't worry about proper grammar, proper spelling. It doesn't matter. The models are fast enough. So if you're going back, and again, we're talking about, shaving seconds off. If you're going back and trying to make everything perfect for, especially like a perplexity chat or anything like that, don't waste the time. It's little habits like that will stack up. They'll save you 30 seconds here, but how many times a day are you going in to do these types of searches without having to go back and correct and, oh, that needs to be capitalized and all that kind of stuff? That starts to add up. Maybe that's 30 minutes a week. Maybe it's more than 30 minutes a week, but whatever it is, it's something that gets added to that pool of time that you now have to be able to, well, what am I going to do with this free time? Oh, let me go learn another AI tool. Let me practice with using Rise, or let me get familiar with the shortcuts in Superhuman or Arc. So all of this, it does matter. And it's not the I saved an entire day, but it's the compound effect of a minute here, 50 minutes there, 15 minutes there, an hour and a half there. All of that stuff matters. So here's what I would do if I was in a pinch to create this presentation. I would go to Perplexity. I'd let Perplexity do all the heavy lifting for me. And if I were to set a timer, I think we're probably still under 20 seconds here. Under 30 seconds. Okay, great. This is good enough. That was probably under 45 seconds. I would come in here, hit copy. Now, I used Claude 3.5 Sonnet. We can talk about Perplexity more in detail in a later session. I would copy this. I'd go over to Gamma. I'd click on Create New. Now, what do I want? Do I want to paste this in text? Yes, I do. I could just as easily, if you had, let's say, a Google Doc, you could paste the URL in here. If I had a competitor's website and I wanted to do some analysis on what they were doing correctly, I could paste that URL in here. But in this case, I was in Perplexity. I copied the text. I'm going to paste in my text, citations and all. Again, it doesn't need to be, it can be sloppy. Now, I'm going to prepare a presentation, but I could just as easily prepare a shareable web version of this or a document that I would hand out inside the meeting. I'm going to hit continue. Now, in our case, we've got, let's see, I would want to condense it because it's going to be no, you know what? Let's let AI do its thing. Amount of text per card. We're going to go more brief. Write it for non-technical. Let's do this. Hey, Chris, the meeting's starting. Yeah, 1 second, guys. I'll be there in just a moment. Right? This looks good to me. AI images, continue. I'm just going to grab a coffee. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. We're going to use, we actually have a custom. It's kind of using some of our colors and stuff like that. So I'd click that. I'd hit generate. And I would start packing my briefcase because I'm about to rock up into that meeting with a presentation ready to go. Now, again, I'm just playing around here. However, this is something that the more you start thinking in AI, the more you're going to realize, oh, there's opportunities for me to really impress the weekly meeting or impress that presentation with the team leads or whatever it is, right? And if you can take just a few minutes and show up, and now it looks like you've spent, sorry, guys, I was up late and woke up early to make sure that this presentation was squared away. It shows that you're taking your contribution to the business's outcomes very seriously. And those are the individuals who get noticed, who stand out, who get invited to participate in. So here we go. Let's present it. So now, in short order, okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to present on the updates from the spring announcements from ChatGPT. It now has multimodal capability, right? It's able to do this. Now, I could go back in. If I had more time, I would say, okay, maybe I want to do some different, I certainly wouldn't want to present with this image. It does AI-generated images. The version it's using, I think, is Flux 2, which does a pretty good job with the pictures, but not necessarily with the words. For me, Ideogram seems to be performing the best when it comes to AI generated text. But like I would want to take a few minutes and maybe go in there. And in this case, it might be an image from our company website, or it could be our logo or anything like that. But the information that I need to present is here, and it's accurate. And I could actually go in and set it up to where there were additional animations and those sorts of things. But with this, if I come in and I'm walking everybody through this, even if I hadn't watched that, I'd be able to say, oh, and it's obvious that, with the ethical considerations, especially most importantly, risk assessment, it's able to identify potential issues. Like all of a sudden, people are like, who is this guy? He's hired, right? Let's get him. Anyway, so that was just a quick demo. And if this is something that you're doing a lot, creating presentations or presenting knowledge to other knowledge workers, it doesn't need to be a thing where it's an either or. Well, I'm either going to sit there for the next hour building out the slide deck, or I'm going to do the research. It might be a none. I'm going to let Perplexity do the research, and I'm going to let AI build that slide deck. Now, what do I do with that extra 45 minutes or 55 minutes that I had set aside for something? I'm going to go learn how to use Gamma better. I'm going to learn how to create an image in Gamma. I'm going to, whatever it is. Again, it's not just about creating this time so that you've now got more leisure time. Maybe that's great. We're a startup. We have no idea what leisure time is. Us not working, getting to work on stuff that we like, actually. I guess that would be our definition of leisure time. But whatever it is, if you're interested in AI for productivity, specifically for your career, I would suggest that you use that extra time for your career as compared to, whatever, like taking a longer lunch or whatever the case might be. You only have to do this for a short period of time for you to be recognized as, oh, Chris knows he's the AI guy here or whatever. And as I showed you earlier in this presentation, it's not my research. It's the research from Microsoft, from Harvard, from Boston Consulting Group, from all of these organizations. The individual who gets recognized as a person who knows how to use AI, great. Yeah, they're getting more done. But you're now the person that says, oh, hold on. Let me take a minute. I'm going to show you how to use this. You now become the person that's showing the rest of the team how to use this stuff. And that is additional value contribution for your career. I don't care if you're a consultant or if you're an employee and you're looking to ascend the ladder, whatever it is, when you can go in and you can create a compelling argument on why you need that, raise, why you need whatever that thing is, why you need the corner office, or you need to be able to work remotely or whatever. And you can go in and you can quantify the impact that you're having. Oh, well, I showed the entire marketing team how to do this, or finance no longer does it this way because I showed them a few tools. They don't want to let you go. And what that means is supply and demand. I have a high demand skill that is in low supply. What does that mean for the economics of this? Everybody knows this, supply and demand. If the resource is scarce, the price of that resource tends to be higher. You are that scarce resource when you learn these things, and the demand for you becomes higher. The demand for you becomes more expensive. So we're going to continue to do these. I'm going to stop for today. We had some more, but I think that based on some of this, thank you for joining us today. We realize now that, hey, next time, let's blend this and this and this so that we make this not just individual tools that you get access to see. Obviously, that's great. And it looks like Eitan's got a link to give you for a free month of Rise. Awesome. Yeah, man, if you would pop that into the Facebook comment. So if you're in Facebook, discount inbound, get ready. And then we'll also be sending this out in an email to anybody who registered for this. Now, for those of you who maybe you're finding us and you had no idea about this Facebook group or anything like that, we talk about this type of thing regularly within our community at Chief AI Officer. And it's free to join the community at any level. However, you also have the ability to join at a VIP level, which gets you, and I'm going to share that slide with everybody real quick. The VIP level gets you access to a bunch of free training calls that we do in our community that are kind of reserved for those AI insiders. So let me share this. 14 days free. So if you want to check it out, come see all the calls that we do and that sort of thing. You can go to chiefaiofficer.com/VIP upgrade. You can use that QR code. And one of the things that you'll get is lifetime access to a 3-day training that we do. We call it the Using AI at Work Challenge. We just wrapped up the last version of it last week. And this is something that if you want to do a deeper dive, and listen, this is the first time we've done this call. So if we're bouncing around a little bit and you're having a hard time keeping up, it's the first time we've done this call. The challenge, this was our 7th or 8th time that we've done it. And each time we've improved it, we've updated it, we've enhanced it with lessons learned from the past 1.5 2 years of doing this, all of those things. So the challenge is actually a very dialed in, it's more than like AI 101 for work. It's pretty robust. If you were to pay for that course, I don't know what people would charge, but it wouldn't be free. And that challenge we do for free. So if you sign up for the community for free, no problem at all. You can go in there and really engage with our chief AI officers, those who are already graduated, who stuck around, those who are in process, and those who are just AI curious about how I'm interested in AI. How do I use it for work? You'll be able to interact with them and get access to some of the resources. However, our AI Insiders group, which again, 14 days free, they get the full Monty. They get access to the recordings from the last challenge. And they get access to those that are constantly being updated. So every time we do the challenge, the newest version of that gets popped in there. Now, that's great for you. But also what I always tell people is, listen, if your team is not using AI, this is a perfect way to get them tuned up and to understand what's possible and to see the tools that are available for them to use in their day-to-day. Each month after the challenge, we do a hands-on AI implementation workshop. We do it on a Saturday, and we usually spend a couple of hours where it's me and you and whoever else wants to join. And we pick apart some of these tools and we help you set it up. We help you make sure, hey, Chris, I want to use this in my role and I do this. Okay, well then let's go. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Go toggle this switch. Go in there and you want to make sure that this is connected. It's like having hands-on tech support with me. We do that once a month on Saturdays. You'll also get access. We do a daily training call Monday through Friday on tools on Monday, prompting essentials on Tuesday with access to our Prompt Vault software. On Wednesday evenings, we do a call about, great, you're learning these skills. How do you monetize this knowledge? How do you price your AI expertise? How do you generate clients? How do you let the world know that, hey, I'm an AI-enabled individual and I'm for hire? On Thursday, we teach you automations. Great, I would love it if, like Ashley was talking about with Make, if I mention something in a call, I want it to be able to trigger sending that automatically, that white paper or that case study to the person that was on the call automatically. How do I do that? We cover those types of things on Thursday. We actually build them out right there while you're on the call. And then on Fridays, we have a live Q&A where you can really come and ask the whole community, hey guys, I'm trying to do this. What's a good tool? Or I tried this, it didn't work out. Or I really want to do this, but I can't really, I'm having a hard time architecting the steps. You have community support right there. Smart Cuts, we'll probably be sending out some Smart Cuts. Smart Cuts are like AI-powered process maps. So these tools that we're teaching you, a Smart Cut is a step-by-step guide of how to introduce that tool into your role or that workflow in your business, and ideally how to have it automated or supported by prompts that we provide you in our Prompt Vault. And then, of course, you get premium prompt packs. It's free. Try it out for 14 days. You can cancel. You don't have to go through a big bunch of hoops if it's not for you, or if you got what you needed out of those 14 days. That's totally cool. But the community is fantastic. We have a Chief AI Officer certification program. It retails for $10,000. And people pay that, and they get into the program, and they go through the course, and they learn a lot, but they stick around for the community. The community really is. It's that engaging. It's that helpful. Doesn't matter what level you're at. So this is, this is where you can come. And what my goal is that you get in here and you go, oh, these guys get it. They're not trying to geek me out with a bunch of data science and machine learning stuff. This is actual practical, tactical things I can use in my office. Oh, these people are nice. Like they're supporting each other. If I have a question, I don't hear crickets. I get answers from other members. Oh, wow. Other members are looking for other people to collaborate with on projects, on, exploration, on all that kind of stuff. The intention is that you get in here and you don't have to look anywhere else. That you get everything that you need to really become that AI expert, the person who is saving all that time from the productivity and the understanding of the tools and blah, blah, blah. So with that, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to take a look and see if there's any questions in the Facebook group. And for those of you who are watching anywhere else, we'd love it if you joined us in the Facebook group. Let me see what I can do here.
I popped a link in the chat. There was a few people saying that it was you were frozen, but they managed to get that resolved with a refresh.
Okay.
They hopefully that's not an issue for anybody else.
Escape there. Let me take a look. Yeah. And we're very responsive. Okay, fixed. Great, Lori. Thank you.
If you liked what we're doing here, I mean, really, this presentation was more about the tops of the waves, right? Going through everything in detail. That's where we cover that on Monday. So if you want to, we'll bust open one tool and go for half an hour, 45 minutes, and go through the Q&A on a single tool, as opposed to trying to hit 5 or 6 or 7 tools all at once. So definitely join the community and get in on those. That's where the good stuff comes in.
Okay, great. So everybody, thank you so much. Listen, if there's tools or specific areas that you want, hey, I'd love to be able to introduce AI into this part of my job or whatever, post it in the comments so that we can start to build out material and training on tools that we're using that probably address what it is that you need done. Eitan, Segovia, any other closing remarks or anything for anybody? I know that Eitan, you've got that link for a free month with Rise, and we'll be sending out a follow-up email with links to every tool that we talked about. And most of those links will have access to either a free version or a free trial. So expect that email shortly if you registered for this call. Otherwise, we'll post it in the Facebook group and you'll be able to see that. Anything else, guys?
So I always like to give away free stuff, and I don't know if you had a slide in there for that, but it wouldn't be an event without giving away some candy. So I actually, whether we don't have an actual time slot for that, I don't know. But if you've ever attended any of our 3-day challenges, we like to give away, both access to the Prompt Vault Studio. We've got prompt packs. Chris just went through some of that. And because we have a guest here with Eitan in the mix, I actually wanted to feature a prompt pack that he put together, which is for email marketing. So for those that are actually watching, I know I was looking at the numbers on the stats, and we've got a bunch of people over on the Twitter feed. So Chris, maybe pull up the link with the Facebook, how they get back to the Facebook. So if you're on Twitter, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, there's a bunch of people in different places. If you head over to chiefaiofficer.com/Facebook, that'll take you into the actual Facebook group. It's called Using AI at Work. And from within there, you'll be able to access the chat, which is where I'm going to drop this link. So this is actually, we didn't really get a chance, although it was kind of intended, but we ran out of time to get into the Prompt Vault Studio. That's a software, the SaaS product that we've created to pretty much scratch your own itch. And I've just dropped a link in there. You can, if you're not in there, it's chiefaiofficer.com/prompt. And that'll take you to a backdoor invitation where if you don't yet have a Prompt Vault account, you'll be able to get access and an invite to short circuit and get into the beta. And it'll also, I'm not entirely sure if in the same work cycle of onboarding, if it'll drop you into that premium prompt pack. There's the link. He's got it up on his screen. Thanks, Chris. So essentially, if you might need to click that link again a second time if you've not already registered, but that'll bring you up into a prompt pack that is made up of, I think, more than 20 prompts that have been curated specifically by Eitan. Eitan, did you want to say anything about that specific email sequence in that pack?
Yeah, of course. Really cool. I mean, so this is a create method. So really what this is, and while it follows an email flow, you'll be able to use this for a lot of things. It goes from this idea of really just identifying the best writer for the job. So if you could emulate any type of writing style, any type of writer, any type of strategy that relates to, in this case, the email pack, you're going to have a lot of ideas on how to work through in the prompts to create, the perfect kind of email copywriter for you based off what you're doing. So it's a really fun exercise. There's still some creativity, and basically you build a email writer employee plus prompts that would make him write really well. So have fun with it. That's great. I didn't even know. I'm surprised and happy for you. So you should definitely use it.
So this says $79. That's what we would charge for this. But folks, this is free. Like, you're not paying for this. If you go to this link in particular, you're not going to have to pay for it. So, and thank you, Eitan, for creating that in the first place. It's fantastic. I personally use it anytime I have to create new email content. So highly valuable. And the prompt vault itself, it's got, I don't know, maybe over 1,000 like highly calibrated business use case prompts for almost every department of the business. These aren't the crappy little ones that you find on, when somebody says, hey, I'll give you my 1,000 prompts. This is not that. These are prompts that I think, Segovia, we spent some time and we realized that on one prompt pack alone that we prepared for one of these challenges, we had spent over 12 to 15 hours
collectively among different team members, from the origination, the idea, the research, the QA, testing the prompts. Absolutely.
Yeah. So these are like, you can put these into production. These aren't, oh, that's, cute. No, these are powerful prompts. So with that, thank you, team. And thank you for everybody who's watching us anywhere else. We're so glad. We plan on doing these every Thursday. I'm continuing to dial them in more and more. So expect to see new tools, new ways to use the tools that we're talking about, and bring questions. We love to interact with everybody. All right. Onward.